This week, we welcome Marie Ketner, Director of Product at Cybrary, to discuss how to develop your cybersecurity skills. In the Leadership and Communication section, the dark side of authentic leadership, why CISOs must be students of the business, top IT certifications and degrees to help advance your career, and more. Business Security Weekly starts now.
This is Security Weekly, for security professionals, by security professionals. Broadcasting live from G-Unit Studios in Rhode Island, it's the show where we explore the business of security to improve the security of business. Your trusted source for actionable insights on leadership, communication, and innovation. Get ready for Business Security Weekly. With over half of enterprise security budgets going towards detection and response in 2020, the challenge is investing in solutions that can migrate and scale with your business. ExtraHop helps security teams spot threats up to 95% faster and respond 60% more efficiently in hybrid and multi-cloud environments with cloud-native network detection and response. Kick the tires in the full product demo at securityweekly.com/ExtraHop. Most breaches are caused by exploiting oversights in basic cybersecurity fundamentals, but complex hybrid multi-cloud infrastructures make cybersecurity hygiene challenging. Red Seal can help. It shows you what's on your network, how it's connected, and the associated risk across public cloud, private cloud, and physical environments. With Red Seal, you'll get control of your cybersecurity fundamentals so you can protect your organization from the inevitable attack vectors and reduce your cyber risk. For more information, visit securityweekly.com/Red Seal. Cyber risk and compliance automation is finally here. Arduous legacy GRC systems cannot support the powerful real-time automation and oversight that organizations require to take risks that matter and compete in today's business climate. CyberSaint ingests data from your existing tech stack to deliver unprecedented, patented automation and visibility into enterprise risk and compliance. Don't get left behind. See why the most forward-thinking CISOs and business leaders of Fortune 500 and more partner with CyberSaint. Maximize your cybersecurity program today by visiting securityweekly.com/CyberSaintBSW.
Welcome to Business Security Weekly. This is episode number 194, recorded November 2nd, 2020. Yes, Halloween is behind us. I am your host, Matt Alderman, here in Colorado. Joining me from G-Unit Studios in Rhode Island is my first co-host, Mr. Paul Asadorian.
Good to be here, Matt. I'm liking how the pre-show banter and show introduction talked about Halloween and smoking meat and not football.
So far, we're not done yet. Oh. And joining us remotely is my second co-host, Mr. Jason Albuquerque.
Halloween may have ended, but the pile of candy on my dining room table hasn't. So it's getting scary over there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is. And it's scary watching football some days, too. So we'll leave it at that.
Well, at least you guys got a W.
I don't know how. It was a miracle. Would you like to have all of your favorite Security Weekly content at your fingertips? Have a question for one of our illustrious hosts, someone from the Security Weekly team, or wish to hang out with folks at on our Discord server? Subscribe on your favorite podcast catcher, sign up for our mailing list, and join our Discord server to stay in the loop on all things Security Weekly. Visit securityweekly.com/subscribe. In our webcast on November 5th this week, we'll show you how to build proper metrics and KPIs, learn why you should stop trying to discover and classify data in our webcast on November 12th, and learn how to thwart attackers using deception in our November 19th technical training. Visit securityweekly.com/webcast to see all the webcasts we have coming up, or visit securityweekly.com/on-demand to view all of our previously recorded webcasts. This segment is sponsored by Cybrary. Please visit cybrary.it/solved. Marie Ketner is currently Director of Product at Cybrary. Prior to joining Cybrary, Marie held multiple positions at Straighter Line, including product management and marketing. Marie holds a Bachelor's of Science degree in New Media Publishing from Rochester Institute of Technology. Marie, sounds like all great skills to have. Welcome to Business Security Weekly.
Hi, well, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, we're going to talk about cybersecurity skill sets. And we've been talking about this for the last few weeks on the show. And so this interview is kind of timely for us to kind of dig in a little bit. I mean, Jason has talked a lot about getting more involvement in the community to really help drive, skills, help people get into the cybersecurity industry. It's been a topic we've been pretty passionate about on this show. So, it's great to have you on. I want to start with, when we think about the cybersecurity skills gap, are the problems, is it recruiting? Is it development? Is it retention? Is it all the above? Where are we struggling in the industry?
It's all the above. Most organizations are really trying to stay ahead of the game. And so the skill sets do change over time, as do the opportunities for individual employees. The average turnover in the cybersecurity industry, most employees are only at their current job for 18 months or more. And so thinking about bringing someone on with the right skill set and maintaining them and developing them as being an asset of your organization is very much at the forefront of organizations' priorities, so they can stay on top of the risks that they're trying to tackle.
Yeah. Do organizations worry about the retention piece? Is it a huge part of, you recruit them, right? You get them on. And then are you worried that in 18 to 24 months they're going to leave? Or if you have the right programs in place, maybe it doesn't matter?
Yeah, it's a competitive market. So more organizations are actually being forced to hire more junior professionals that do require upskilling. And so that upskilling and onboarding and professional retention and development is actually, it's one of the directions that organizations are going to in order to satisfy those more senior level roles.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Matt. We've talked about it on the show before, building apprenticeship programs, building programs for traditional IT folks who want to move into the cybersecurity arena, and really building up those programs internally to help groom that. But I think it's our job as executives to build an environment that those folks want to stay, right? So you're investing this time, you're investing, money into training them, you're investing resources into getting them into apprenticeship programs and, having folks that they can shadow. But again, we have to create an environment that makes them want to stay more than 18 months.
I think for a lot of roles, I just want to talk about like the cybersecurity degrees and hiring junior people. And this isn't every role, but I think a lot of roles in cybersecurity benefit from cybersecurity being a minor and having a major be computer science. And coaching my nephew, and then one of the things that I'm like, it doesn't matter how you get there. I'm like, but you need a really good mix of skills to start in a lot of the technical positions in cybersecurity. And like, before you can understand how to secure things or break things, you got to understand how things work. So learn how to build software, learn how to build networks, maybe a minor in cybersecurity. I'm like, that's actually a really good thing, because then the rest of the cybersecurity knowledge, you're probably going to do on the job via training like Cybrary and similar.
At least we hope so.
Right.
And we deal with customers that are at all different stages in that gamut, right? We deal with organizations that have developed and fostered these entry-level training programs to level up their SOC analysts into level 1, 2, and 3 to try and have kind of that full stack view of cybersecurity analysts on their team, and get more people to that value for their clients as they can. And we have others that are just continuing to foster their current team to be able to tackle more and more different organizational needs with the existing resources, and trying to just kind of broaden their skill sets to be able to do more or do a targeted security analysis in an area that they haven't touched before.
Right. Now, Cybrary has a pretty broad learning platform. And one of the things I wanted to kind of get into a little bit is, where are some of the big use cases? How are people using Cybrary to start to solve aspects of this skill gap in cybersecurity?
Yeah, we've touched on a couple already. The onboarding use case is one where we see a lot of companies, like I said, fostering these more entry-level professionals into more secure analysts. Many organizations are struggling to create a structured and consistent process to do that in order to foster that retention. And so they're looking to us to really help out with that pathing. So they come in and they establish, what are the roles on their team that they want to establish some baseline skills for to onboard and make sure they have that minimum requirement to do the job. And so we create custom learning paths for those individuals. So everyone coming on board is at the same level. And then, kind of from there, the career pathing aspect. And so once everyone is baselined, kind of getting into, okay, what's the next level for this individual and what's the next level beyond that? And so creating more of these focused career paths within the organization to let individual employees see their map forward at the organization.
Now, does that curriculum include certification paths as well? Do you
it does.
have courses? Yeah.
Yeah, so we look at certifications and skills holistically, right? So for any job, you have a variety of skills and a variety of certifications that are industry standard that you need. And so one of the other use cases is that certification prep. So if you want a team or individuals to prepare for their Security Plus or their Net Plus or CISSP or, AZ 900, we create, they can assign out these certification prep courses to them, which gives them all the skills they need to go on to take that certification exam.
Yeah, and I like that when you have a security team or even in extensions of the security team, is that you are able to baseline knowledge. And certifications, in my opinion, certifications are certifying a body of knowledge, not experience. But what it allows me to do is apply those people with the knowledge to get the experience that also not only helps them, but helps the business as well.
Well, right. And that's why they're kind of tried and true in the industry still. I know a lot of organizations are shifting to more of a skills mentality instead of certifications, because that's essentially what certifications are. They're just encompassing a collection of concepts and skills that are required for the job. And so they're just packaged differently, right? And so we think of certifications as skills as kind of the same. And kind of being able to assign out different content to a group or a single individual to help them advance in certain skills.
I think there's rare exceptions to that, to some of the really advanced cybersecurity certifications, which do require, basically, a lot of times to achieve those, you have to have some real world skills in order to get through, like probably maybe 3 tops, that are out there today. Cisco, I think, was pioneer in that, right, to get your CCIE. Like, it's really, me personally, I struggle with just like the book learning and lab. Like, I would need real world experience. I think if I were to go to take on an advanced certification like that requires you sit down in a lab, do stuff, right?
Yep. One of the other things that Cybrary does offer for those different certifications and skills that do require more of that hands-on experience is we have, browser-based labs that help practice and apply the skills that you may have been taught in a more instructional format in a more real-world experience. And so those range from a variety of, kind of guided step-by-step tutorials to, more the capture the flag style exercises where you're being asked to go and find a little flag within an exercise.
Yeah, browser-based labs are where it's at too. I was actually talking to one of your coworkers, right, and we were talking about that, like just how critical that is. Like, I understand building a lab myself is a learning experience, but when you want to acquire those skills, building the lab may not be part of those skills as part of your journey to get there and making them available in the browser. I'm happy to see that technology be more ubiquitous.
Yep.
Yeah, and it gives you a level of operational efficiency as an organization, right? Now you're not building these labs from scratch. You have templates, you have things you can put out there quickly and get the end result quickly.
Now, when you craft these different programs, right? There's skills in here, there's certifications in here. Obviously, you're working with the security team, but are you also working with HR? Who else plays a role in crafting these programs to really be successful in an organization?
Yeah, it varies from organization to organization. I will say our preferred model is working with someone who is really a manager at any level and really trying to create a fostered program for their team. So, they want to understand where their team is at in terms of skills and baseline. They have a set objective for this year or this quarter, or just generally for where they need the team to go or an individual to go. And then they're looking to us to kind of put that guidance in between. So if to develop those custom learning paths to help them get to that end state. And so oftentimes we're dealing with, SOC managers and CISOs and HR and a variety of contacts across an organization to facilitate that overall program. It really depends on where the starting point is. We work with learning and development teams in some cases where they're just trying to establish a more predictive training program for the organization as a whole, which is great, right? We want everyone to be thinking about securing the organization at all facets. And so we love being able to work with a multitude of players to really establish that for each individual role of the organization.
Got it. Now, do you also work with the HR teams on, we talked about onboarding a little bit, but I'm thinking about the recruitment process, right? What are the right things to put in the job description? What are the right things to ask for, whether it's education or skills or certifications? Are you working closely with those teams? Because I think one of the big challenges is, not everybody needs a bachelor's of science degree in computer engineering with a CISSP for an entry-level cybersecurity role, right?
Yeah, I think oftentimes we end up working with the hiring manager and not HR because they're ultimately, they have a certain set of skills and capabilities that they're looking for that team member to have on the job. And it's difficult during the evaluation process to determine if, what someone has on paper is actually what they have in actuality. And so they're helping to set these baseline onboarding plans. I will say, we are trying to partner and work with some HR departments as well, because that is a full circle, right? You got to start from someplace before someone actually gets hired to facilitate that role. And so we are working with some HR groups to kind of preempt that and helping establish what are those skills needed for this particular role so they can go and recruit and find the right people.
Yeah, and it's a two-way street too, right? Like HR departments shouldn't be asking for 10 years of serverless cloud technology experience. At the same time, someone with 10 years of serverless cloud experience on their resume should throw up a red flag somewhere, right? So.
Yeah, we think so.
Now, from an overall management perspective, do you have? And I know this is these are questions my HR team would ask, right? Do you have an LMS system where we can help manage our the curriculum that our employees have gone through? Can you integrate with LMS systems so that way they can have that data behind the scenes on folks who are taking classes, folks who are passing certifications, taking the certification classes? I know our HR team, and I mean, we're a technology services company that has partners and we're required certain certifications. Yep. Our customers expect us to have certain certifications. So having that ability to show, here's what our employees have gone through from curriculum to certification paths, et cetera, is very important.
Yep. So you can see some of that in our platform. So you can see exactly what your team has trained on or what content they've consumed throughout their duration of time on Cybrary. We also do integrate with an LMS system at an organization. So an example, Degreed is one of these programs that some of our customers use. They use Degreed to create custom curated paths of content across a multitude of providers, not just Cybrary. And they can add Cybrary content to that and also get the reporting data back on it.
Yeah, awesome.
When we think about the success of having these programs in place, where do your customers really gain that value? I mean, what are you seeing as the end result of crafting these programs and helping the employees grab these skills and these certifications? Any stories that you can share from the success with the customer base?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately it comes down to does this training help that business do X, Y, or Z better, right? And so those stories that we like to capture and find is, hey, my analysts are actually spending less time on each task at hand because they're going into those tasks with a higher baseline of training, right? That's the ultimate end game is this training is meant to help organizations be better at what they're doing. Now, that is very hard to draw direct lines to because training programs are just one piece of that pie, right? There's other professional development going on at the organization, and certainly being able to understand the variety of different impacts to that can be tough. I think when thinking about outcomes that we're trying to drive, it comes down to kind of if we prepared someone for a certification. Are they getting, an 80% or above on that practice exam? And we can kind of check the box and say, yes, they're ready to go off and take that exam with confidence. Or if they set a trading goal for themselves as more of a learning and development program of, hey, we're establishing we need a minimum of 15 hours of training a month for each employee. Can we, yes, check the box that we're helping satisfy that? And then certainly long game those stories on the analyst performance is ultimately what we want to drive.
Yeah. I mean, continuing education units is a whole separate piece, right? I mean,
it is.
because all this is skills to get you maybe to a certification path, to get you more hands-on experience, to move you. But now once you get those certifications, now there's a whole bunch of, continuing education units now that you have to continue submit for to keep your certification. That is a whole separate challenge in itself.
It is, and you can earn those credits on Cybrary. So you can prepare for that certification and then maintain those credits by continuing to learn and train on the platform. So each of our courses and learning activities, upon completion, you get that certificate you can share with the certifying body.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting perspective to when I look at someone's resume to look at how they may be continuing their certifications with credits and their work experience, right? Like how much does that overlap? I'm not saying either is a bad thing. They may be continuing a certification, they may be working in a slightly different area, and you can kind of gauge where more of their experience more recently is. Because I think one of the huge criticisms of certification is, well, someone that got it 10 years ago and still puts it on their resume and it still carries weight. You have to look at the whole picture, and those are just two very small data points in the whole picture of a candidate, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I think I froze there for a minute, or somebody froze. It's probably me. Nobody's home to consume my internet today, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, someone is. A couple of times you kind of froze and caught up with yourself there in the video.
Yeah, I was asking about apprenticeship programs. We've talked about them here. One of the ways to see a mature industry is concept of apprenticeship programs. Maria, are you seeing anybody look at apprenticeship programs or trying to build apprenticeship programs leveraging Cybrary and your platform?
We have a variety of different edge cases that we're satisfying. There's a few that come to mind where they are trying to build out these, I wouldn't have gone in calling them apprenticeship programs, but I guess you could call them that. Where it's an organization or a group that is really striving to foster the cybersecurity industry and really add more professionals to that. And we do have a variety of organizations on the platform that are setting up their own individual programs to do that, and they're leveraging Cybrary's content and for that training aspect of it.
Got it.
Yeah, and I like that thrown into the mix because, to take a student, for example, and put them in an apprenticeship program with an advanced cybersecurity practitioner, that's a huge time commitment. And I'm not saying don't do that, but you have to be mindful of the time commitment before you play the matchmaker. Yeah. Whereas maybe someone who's worked in IT, and Jason, I know you told a great story about the person that worked in IT that wanted to get into cybersecurity. That mentorship you can look at almost in a different light and go, well, that's less time that we'll have to spend in that mentorship because they already have a certain body of knowledge. But knowing that is huge.
Yeah. Well,
big time.
I think, Cybrary has an entire side of the business that's crafted and derived for individuals, right? So it might not be an apprenticeship program, but it's helping an individual make their way into cybersecurity. And we often find that many professionals are trying to transition from IT to cybersecurity using Cybrary as well. So may not be a team constructed to kind of organize and foster that, but individuals are seeking that out themselves.
Mm. Yeah, and you know, the research that I did on Cybrary, I mean, obviously the value is in the talent that you bring to be that instructor, to be that person who can provide that apprenticeship type instruction. I looked at your list of instructors and I was blown away. I mean, you have CEOs of security companies, you have CISOs, CTOs, information security managers. So I look at that, the wealth of the talent there. I could see this as, giving me some help, some assistance in creating an apprenticeship program where part of that apprenticeship program is taking this curriculum. Not only are you aligned to someone within my organization, within my team, but at the end of the day, you have all of these great instructors at your fingertips to be able to learn from, and then take that to the folks on my team and really bounce ideas off of.
Absolutely.
And that content is coming out every single day, Marie says. When it's ready, it's on the platform.
Yeah.
Paul, Jason, any additional questions while we have Marie?
Well, I was just going to say that's super critical in today's world. As we know, there's a new Amazon service that's spun up every hour, I feel like. And for us to keep pace, we need a huge, vast library like Cybrary has to be able to come up to speed quickly. And I think everyone has a different use case for that. I'll describe mine on some later segments, but briefly, if I need to come up to speed quickly, it's different because I'm a podcast host and it might be for a segment or a project, right? And that's very different from someone else who may be embarking on a larger project. But there's always new technology to learn, really, regardless of either of those two use cases, and having that. And sometimes having shortcuts is nice too. To go, I just need, I get the first part of that training class. I need to start here because that's where my gap in knowledge, begins. So,
Yep. Marie, thank you so much for joining us on Business Security Weekly today.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you.
To learn more about Cybrary's leading cybersecurity professional development platform, please visit cybrary.it/solved. We'll take a quick break and then cover the leadership and communications articles for this week.